The morning sun shone over Esperanza colony. This human settlement was far from Earth, a place of science and hope. Dr. Song looked out his window at the rolling hills and clear blue sky. His team had worked for 5 years to build this peaceful place. Another beautiful day, he said to himself. His daughter Gia played outside with her friends. She was 7 years old with bright eyes and a quick smile. Dr. Song watched her run and laugh, her small hands holding a toy spaceship. He smiled. Gia wanted to be a pilot when she grew up. "Dr. Song, we need you at the lab," called his assistant. "Hana over the comm system." "I'll be right there," he replied, taking one last look at Gia before heading to work. Inside the main research building, 20 scientists worked on projects to help Earth and the colony. They studied plants that could clean air and water systems that recycled everything. Dr. Song led the team with care and wisdom. "The new soil samples look good," said Hana, showing him test results. "We can grow more food next season." Then the alarms began to scream. Red lights flashed through the colony. People ran from buildings, looking up at the sky. Dr. Song rushed outside, his heart beating fast. "What's happening?" he asked Captain Lee, who stood with his security team. "Unknown ships," said Captain Lee, pointing up. "They just appeared. 3 large vessels. Above them, dark shapes blocked the sun. They were not human ships. They were not like anything anyone had seen before. Their black hulls seemed to swallow light. "Get everyone to safety," ordered Captain Lee. "Follow Emergency Plan Alpha." Dr. Song's first thought was Gia. He ran toward the playground, pushing through scared people. His daughter stood frozen, looking up at the strange ships. "Gia," he called. "Come here now." She turned toward his voice. Relief washed over her face when she saw him. She started running to him, her small legs moving as fast as they could. That's when the first beam hit. It came from the largest ship, a pulse of energy that cut through the air with a sound like tearing metal. It struck the ground near the playground. Dirt and rock exploded upward. Children screamed, "Gia!" Dr. Song ran faster, his arms reaching out. The second beam came before. Anyone could react. This one hit closer to where Gia was running. The blast knocked her down. Dr. Song felt his world stop as he saw her small body thrown to the ground. He reached her side and picked her up. Her eyes were closed. He carried her toward the medical center, running as more beams hit the colony. Around them, "Help!" he screamed as he burst through the doors. "Dr. Kim, please!" Dr. Kim took Gia from his arms and placed her on a bed. Medical staff moved quickly around them. Machines beeped and whirred. Dr. Song stood back, his hands shaking. "She's not breathing," said Dr. Kim, her voice tight. They worked for 20 minutes, using every tool and medicine they had, but it was too late. Gia was gone. Outside, the attack continued. The ships fired on buildings and fields. They seemed to target places at random. When Captain Lee tried to contact them, there was no answer. "Why are they doing this?" asked Hana, who had found Dr. Song at the medical center. He couldn't answer. He sat beside his daughter's body, numb with grief and shock. The colony's emergency. Beacon sent a distress signal to Earth. Along with it went video records of the attack. The death of one small girl, caught by security cameras, traveled through space at the speed of light. 3 days later, the strange ships left as suddenly as they had come. They took nothing. They said nothing. They just disappeared back into space. The colony counted its losses. 12 dead, including Gia. 28 injured, buildings destroyed. But the greatest damage was to their sense of safety and peace. On Earth, the United Defense Council met in an underground room beneath the old United Nations building. Admiral June stood before them, her face grim as she showed them the video from Esperanza. "The aliens call themselves the Voidborn," she said. "We've gathered this from other colonies who have had contact with them. They see other species as resources, not equals." The council members watched the video in silence. When they saw Gia fall, several turned away. "What do you suggest, Admiral?" asked the council president. Admiral June's eyes were hard as steel. "They've crossed a line. They killed a human child. They need to understand what that means." She placed a small device on the table. It projected a hologram of a massive ship, more like a small planet than a vessel. I suggest we activate Protocol Nemesis, she said. The council members looked at each other. Protocol Nemesis had been created for the worst possible scenarios. No one had ever thought they would use it. Is that really necessary? Asked one member. Admiral Jun pointed to the frozen image of Jia Song. They killed a human child, she repeated. Yes, it's necessary. The vote was unanimous. Protocol Nemesis would begin. Deep in the shadow of Jupiter, hidden from all but the highest levels of Earth government, a giant shape began to stir. Lights flickered on across its surface as systems awakened. Inside, crew members who had trained for years moved to their stations. Earth was sending a message to the stars, a message carried by a planet-sized warship, a message about what happens when you kill a human child. The massive shape hidden in Jupiter's shadow had a name: EDF Retribution. For 30 years, Earth had kept it secret, building it from a captured asteroid, hollowing out the rock and filling it with the most advanced technology humans had created. Commander Han stood on the main bridge, looking out at the stars. His dark uniform fit perfectly on his tall frame. He had trained for 15 years for this moment, though he had hoped it would never come. "Status report," he said to the officer beside him. Lieutenant Min checked her screen. "All systems coming online, sir. Power at 60% and rising. Crew reporting to stations." Commander Han nodded. The Retribution was waking up. Around him, hundreds of crew members worked at control panels. Lights blinked. Screens showed different parts of the enormous ship. "Navigation ready," called out one officer. "Weapon systems online," said another. "Life support stable throughout all sectors," reported a third. The Retribution was not just big, it was a whole world. Inside its shell were living areas for 10,000 crew members, farms to grow food, factories to make supplies, and hospitals to care for the sick. It could travel for years without needing to stop anywhere. "Commander, Admiral Jun is calling." "From Earth," said Lieutenant Min. A large screen lit up, showing Admiral Jun's face. Her eyes were hard, her mouth set in a straight line. "Commander Han, you have your orders," she said. "The Voidborn must learn that attacking human children has consequences." "Yes, Admiral. We understand our mission," replied Commander Han. "The Retribution is almost ready." "Good, Earth is counting on you." The screen went dark. Commander Han turned to his crew. "Let's get this mountain moving." Deep inside the ship, massive engines powered up. They were unlike any engines humans had built before. They didn't burn fuel like regular rockets. Instead, they bent space itself, pulling the giant ship forward like a stone rolling downhill. Slowly, the Retribution moved out from behind Jupiter. The sun's light touched its surface for the first time. It looked strange against the blackness of space, not smooth like most ships, but rough and rocky in places, with flat metal sections and huge weapon ports. In the ship's medical bay, Dr. Yuna prepared her team. They would care for any injured crew during the mission. She checked supplies and equipment, making sure everything was ready. "Do you think we'll really find these aliens?" asked her assistant. Dr. Yuna nodded. "Yes, and when we do, they'll wish we hadn't." In another part of the ship, Major Kim trained his soldiers. They practiced fighting in zero gravity and using the new weapons developed for the mission. If they needed to board enemy ships or fight on strange planets, they would be ready. "Faster!" he shouted as his troops ran through a practice course. "The Voidborn won't wait for you to catch your breath." Commander Han walked through the ship's corridors, checking different areas. He stopped at the memorial wall. Here, pictures of the Esperanza victims hung in a line. In the center was Jia Song's photo, a smiling girl with bright eyes holding a toy spaceship. "We won't let this happen again," he whispered to the picture. Back on the bridge, Lieutenant Min called out, "Commander, we're receiving a message from Dr. Song on Esperanza." The screen showed Dr. Song's tired face. He had aged years in the days since the attack. His eyes were red from crying. "Commander Han," he said, "I've heard about your mission. I want to join you." Commander Han frowned. "Dr. Song, I understand your feelings, but—" "My daughter is dead," Dr. Song interrupted. "I have nothing left on Esperanza. I'm a scientist. I can help you understand the Voidborn technology when you find them." Commander Han thought for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. We'll send a shuttle." "For you?" As the Retribution prepared to leave Jupiter's orbit, Commander Han studied the star maps. The Voidborn ships had left traces that Earth's scientists could track. They knew which way to go. "Set course for the Orion Arm," he ordered. "Maximum speed." The giant engines hummed louder. Space itself seemed to bend around the ship. Stars streaked past the windows as the Retribution moved faster than light itself. In his private quarters, Commander Han looked at a small photo of his own family back on Earth. His wife and young son smiled back at him. He had not told them the full truth about his mission. Few people on Earth knew what the Retribution really was, or what it could do. The ship carried weapons that could destroy whole planets. It had shields that could withstand the heat of a sun. It could remake worlds or end them. This power made Commander Han both proud and afraid. A knock came at his door. Lieutenant Min stood there with a tablet. "Sir, we've detected a Voidborn." "Outpost at the edge of the Orion Arm," she said. "We can reach it in 3 days." Commander Han took the tablet and studied the information. "Good. That will be our first stop. The Voidborn are about to learn who they're dealing with." As the Retribution raced through space, its dark shape blotted out stars. It was not just a ship. It was Earth's anger given form. It was humanity's. Message to the universe: "You do not touch our children." The Retribution slowed as it approached the Voidborn outpost. Through the main view screen, Commander Han studied the strange structure floating in space. It looked like a dark metal flower, with 6 petals spreading out from a central hub. Small ships moved around it like insects. "Scan the outpost," Commander Han ordered. Lieutenant Min's fingers moved across her control panel. "The outpost has about 500 Voidborn inside. Their weapons are strong, but not as strong as ours. They haven't noticed us yet." Dr. Song stood beside Commander Han. He had arrived 2 days ago, bringing all his research about the attack on Esperanza. His face was thin and pale, but his eyes were sharp with purpose. "Remember, we need information first," Dr. Song said quietly. "We need to understand why they attacked us." Commander Han nodded. "Major Q, position our ship just outside their sensor range. Lieutenant Min, prepare to send a message to the outpost." The Retribution moved into position, its massive shape still hidden by a special shield that bent light around it. The crew worked in tense silence. "We're ready, sir," said Lieutenant Min. Commander Han straightened his uniform. "Show them our ship and open a channel." The Retribution's shield dropped. On the outpost, alarms must have sounded as their sensors detected the planet-sized warship that had suddenly appeared. "This is Commander Han of the Earth Defense Force." "Retribution," he said in a clear, strong voice. "We wish to speak with whoever is in charge of your outpost." For several minutes, there was no response. Then the view screen changed, showing a strange face. The Voidborn looked almost like a human, with pale blue skin, but it had no nose, just breathing slits. Its eyes were large and completely black. "I am Overseer Tal of the Voidborn Collective," it said in a flat voice. "Your presence is unexpected." "We have come about the attack on our colony Esperanza," said Commander Han. "Your ships killed 12 humans, including a child." The Voidborn's face showed no emotion. "We surveyed that system. The resources were needed." Dr. Song stepped forward, his hands shaking. "You killed my daughter. She was 7 years old. Her name was Gia." "The age of your offspring is not relevant," said Overseer Tal. "All resources are claimed for the collective." Commander Han felt cold anger rise in him. "You consider other species' resources?" "Of course. All non-Voidborn life exists to serve the collective's needs." The alien's voice remained flat, as if stating an obvious fact. Dr. Song's face had gone white. "My daughter was not a resource. She was a person. She had dreams. She wanted to be a pilot." The Voidborn made a strange motion with its hand. "Irrelevant. Your emotional attachment to young offspring is a weakness. The collective does not share this trait." Commander Han studied the alien's face. "You don't form bonds with your children?" "Voidborn young are raised by the collective, not by individuals. We have no concept of family, as you understand it." For a moment, Commander Han was silent, thinking. Then he turned to Lieutenant Min. "Show them the footage from Esperanza, full screen." The view screen changed to show the attack, the strange ships appearing over the colony, the beams striking buildings and fields, Dr. Song running toward his daughter, Gia falling. When the video ended, Commander Han looked at the Voidborn. Do you understand now why we have come with such a large ship? Overseer Tal's expression didn't change, so your response seems disproportionate for the loss of resources. Major Q, standing nearby, muttered, They really don't get it. Commander Han tried again. Let me be clear. Humans protect our children above all else. By killing a human child, you have triggered our strongest defensive response. Interesting, said the Voidborn. This protective instinct is not efficient. Dr. Song suddenly stepped forward. Let me ask you something. Where is your homeworld? Who leads your people? Why do you attack other species? The Voidborn's black eyes narrowed. Such information is not shared with resource species. Commander. Han nodded to Lieutenant Min. She pressed a button on her panel. Outside, one of the Retribution's smaller weapons fired. A beam of light struck one of the outpost's 6 petals. The metal structure crumpled like paper, breaking away from the main. Hub. That was a warning, said Commander Han. We can destroy your entire outpost, or you can answer our questions. The Voidborn was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke in the same flat voice. The collective is led by the high mind. Our homeworld is in the system you call Cygnus X1. We take resources from other species because that is our purpose, to grow and expand the collective. Dr. Song leaned forward. Do you take children from other species too? Young specimens have useful genetic material, replied the Voidborn. We collect them when available. Major Q made a disgusted sound. They're harvesting children. Commander. Han's face hardened. Overseer Tal, we will give you one chance. Send a message to your leaders. Tell them that killing or taking children from any human colony will result in the strongest possible response from Earth. The High Mind does not accept threats from resource species, said the Voidborn. Commander Han looked at Dr. Song, whose eyes were filled with tears and anger. Then he looked back at the alien. Then the High Mind will learn, he said. Lieutenant, Min en transmission. The view screen went blank. Commander Han turned to his officers. Set course for Cygnus X1, he ordered. The Voidborn are about to learn what happens when you treat humans as resources. As the Retribution moved away from the outpost, Dr. Song looked out at the stars. Will destroying them bring Jia back, he asked quietly. Commander Han put a hand on his shoulder. No, but it might save other children, human and non-human alike. The massive warship disappeared into faster-than-light speed, heading toward the heart of Voidborn territory. The Retribution traveled through the darkness of space for 17 days. Inside the massive ship, the crew worked and waited. Their mission had changed from seeking answers to preparing for war with the Voidborn. Commander Han sat in his office, reading reports from different parts of the ship. Major Q's soldiers trained harder each day. Dr. Yuna's medical team prepared for possible injuries. Lieutenant Min's navigation team plotted the best path to the Voidborn homeworld. A knock came at his door. Enter, he called. Dr. Song walked in, looking better than he had when he first joined the mission. Working had helped him deal with his grief. He had spent days studying the information they had gathered from the Voidborn outpost. Commander, I've made a discovery, Dr. Song said, placing a tablet on the desk. Look at these scans of the Voidborn. Brain? Commander Han studied the images. What am I looking for? This area here. Dr. Song pointed to a part of the alien brain. In humans, this is where we form emotional connections with others, especially our children. In the Voidborn, it's much smaller. So they physically can't care about their children, Doctor. Song nodded. It seems so. They evolve differently from us. They don't form families or protect their young. That's why they don't understand why we're so angry about Jia's death. Commander Han leaned back in his chair. Does that change anything? They still killed your daughter and others. I'm not saying we should forgive them, Dr. Song said quickly, but maybe there's a way to make them understand us better. Before Commander Han could respond, Lieutenant Min's voice came over the comm system. Commander, we've detected a Voidborn ship ahead. It's much larger than the ones that attacked Esperanza. Commander Han and Dr. Song hurried to the bridge. On the main screen, they saw a massive black ship. It was shaped like a long spike with rings around it. They haven't seen us yet, said Lieutenant Min. Our shields are still hiding us. Should we go around them? Asked Major Q. Commander Han thought for a moment. No. We need more information about the Voidborn before we reach their homeworld. prepare to capture the ship. The crew moved quickly to their battle stations. The Retribution's weapon systems came online. Special teams prepared to board the alien vessel. "Drop the shield and target their engines," ordered Commander Han. The Retribution appeared in space like a small planet suddenly coming into existence. The Voidborn ship immediately tried to turn and flee, but it was too late. A precisely aimed beam hit its engines, stopping it in space. "They're trying to call for help," reported Lieutenant Min. "I'm blocking their signals." "Good. Major Q, prepare your boarding team. Dr. Song, you'll go with them. I want prisoners and any information you can find." Major Q led 50 soldiers in special space armor. They crossed from the Retribution to the Voidborn ship in small, fast shuttles. Dr. Song went with them, wearing armor too large for his thin frame. Inside the alien ship, they met resistance. The Voidborn fought with strange energy weapons that melted through metal. 3 human soldiers fell before Major Q's team secured the main control room. "Ship secure," Major Q reported to Commander Han. "We have 12 Voidborn prisoners." Dr. Song walked through the alien ship, scanning everything with his devices. In one room, he stopped suddenly, his face going pale. "Major Q," he called. "You need to see this." The room was filled with clear containers. Inside each one floated a small body, some human, some clearly alien, but all children. They were connected to machines by tubes and wires. "Are they alive?" asked Major Q, his voice shaking with anger. Dr. Song checked his scanner. "Yes, they're in some kind of suspended animation. The machines are extracting something from them." Back on the Retribution, Commander Han viewed the images sent from the Voidborn ship. His face grew darker with each picture. "Bring those children to our medical bay immediately," he ordered, "and bring the Voidborn prisoners to the interrogation room." In the medical bay, Dr. Yuna worked to disconnect the children from the alien machines. There were 23 in total, from at least 5 different species. 3 were human. "Will they survive?" Commander Han asked her. "I think so," she said. "But they've been like this for a long time. The human children might be from colonies that were attacked years ago." In the interrogation room, Commander Han faced the highest-ranking Voidborn prisoner. The alien sat calmly, its black eyes showing no fear. "Why are you taking children?" Commander Han demanded. "Young specimens provide the best genetic material," the Voidborn answered. "Their developing systems adapt well to our needs." "Their families believe they're dead," said Commander Han. "Do you understand the pain you've caused?" The Voidborn made the same dismissive gesture they had seen before. "Emotional attachments are irrelevant. All serves the collective." Dr. Song, who had been watching from the side, stepped forward. "I have an idea, Commander. With your permission, I'd like to try something." He took out a small device and showed it to the Voidborn. "This contains a modified version of a human hormone called oxytocin. It helps us form bonds with our children. I believe it might affect the underdeveloped part of the Voidborn brain." Commander Han nodded. "Try it." The Voidborn didn't resist, as Dr. Song pressed the device against its neck. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then the alien's breathing changed. Its black eyes widened. It made a strange sound. What is happening to me?" it asked, its voice no longer flat. "You're feeling what humans feel," said Dr. Song. "Now tell us about your homeworld and the high mind." The Retribution emerged from faster-than-light travel near the Voidborn homeworld. The planet hung in space like a dark jewel, surrounded by rings of metal stations and ships. Commander Han stood on the bridge, looking at the main screen. His face was calm, but his eyes showed the weight of the decision he faced. "They've detected us," said Lieutenant Min. "Their defense fleet is moving to intercept." Hundreds of Voidborn ships formed a line between the Retribution and the planet. They looked small compared to Earth's massive warship. "Open a channel to the planet," ordered Commander Han. "Let's see if they're ready to talk." The screen changed to show a Voidborn with elaborate markings on its blue skin. Its black eyes were larger than others they had seen. "I am the voice of the high mind," it said. "You have violated collective space. Explain your presence." Commander Han stepped forward. "I am Commander Han of Earth. Your people attacked our colonies and stole our children. We have come for justice." The voice showed no reaction. "Your species is classified as a resource. Resources do not demand justice from the collective. Dr. Song joined Commander Han. The grief on his face had changed to determination. "Show them," he said quietly. Commander Han nodded to Lieutenant Min. She pressed a control, sending the images they had prepared. On every communication device across the void-born planet, the same pictures appeared. Jia Song playing with her toy spaceship. The void-born attack on Esperanza. Children floating in containers on the captured ship. Dr. Yuna treating the rescued children in the medical bay. "These are not resources," said Commander Han. "These are our children. They are the future of our species, and you took them from us." The voice of the High Mind paused for a moment. "The collective does not recognize your claim. Prepare to be harvested. Your ship will provide significant resources." Commander Han looked at Dr. Song, who nodded. "We tried to reason with them," said Dr. Song. "They can't understand. Not yet." "All weapons online," Commander Han ordered. "Target their defense fleet, but avoid the planet for now." The Retribution's weapon ports opened. Beams of energy shot out, cutting through the void-born ships like paper. More void-born ships rushed forward, firing their weapons at the massive Earth vessel. Their shots hit the Retribution's shields, but did no damage. Inside a secured room on the Retribution, the void-born prisoner that Dr. Song had treated, watched the battle on a small screen. Its name was Tal, the same overseer they had met at the outpost. But it was different now. The treatment had changed it. "So much death," it said, its voice shaking. "And for what? Because we couldn't understand." Dr. Song sat beside it. "Can you help us stop this? Can you help us reach the High Mind?" Tal looked at him with eyes that now showed emotion. The High Mind controls all Voidborn through a psychic network. It has existed for thousands of years, guiding the collective. But it has never felt what I now feel. On the bridge, the battle continued. The Retribution destroyed ship after ship, but more kept coming. "Commander," called Lieutenant Min, "I'm detecting a strange signal from the planet. It's trying to penetrate our shields." "That's the High Mind," said Major Q. The prisoner told. "Hers, it can control Voidborn minds. It might be trying to control us too." Commander Han's face hardened. "Prepare the main weapon. If we can't reason with them, we may have no choice but to end this permanently." Dr. Song rushed onto the bridge, with Tal following behind him. "Wait, I have a better plan," he explained. Quickly. Using the treatment he had developed, they could create a large-scale version that would affect the High Mind itself. It wouldn't destroy the Voidborn, but it might change them enough to understand humans. "It's better than destroying a whole species," Dr. Song said. "Please, Commander, I don't want Jia's legacy to be genocide." Commander Han looked at Dr. Song, then at Tal, who now showed fear and hope in its once empty eyes. Finally, he nodded. "Prepare the delivery system," he ordered, "and continue defending against their fleet." Dr. Song and his team worked quickly, loading the treatment into special missiles. These wouldn't explode or destroy, but would release the treatment into the atmosphere of the Voidborn planet. "Ready, sir," reported Dr. Song. "Fire," said Commander Han. The missiles streaked past the battling ships, entering the planet's atmosphere. They released clouds of the treatment that spread quickly on the wind currents. For several minutes, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, the Voidborn ships stopped attacking. "They're pulling back," said Lieutenant Min in surprise. The screen changed to show the voice of the High Mind again. But now its face showed confusion and pain. What have you done to us?" it asked, its voice no longer flat and emotionless. "We've helped you understand," said Commander Han. "Now you can feel what we feel. You can understand why we protect our children." The voice was silent for a long moment. Then, in a different tone, it said, We see now. The taking of young ones. It causes pain. We feel it." Over the next several days, a new agreement formed between Earth and the Voidborn. The collective would return all captured children and never take any again. They would stay away from human colonies. And Earth would help them understand their new emotions. 1 month later, Dr. Song stood in a special room on the Retribution. Around him were the rescued children, now recovered and waiting to return to their families. Among them were 3 human, children who had been thought dead for years. Dr. Song knelt beside a small girl who reminded him of Jia. "You're going home," he told her with a smile. Outside the window, the void-born planet turned slowly in space. On its surface, things were changing. The void-born were building new structures, not just for resource collection, but for living. For families. Commander Han joined Dr. Song at the window. "Was it the right choice?" he asked. "Some people on Earth wanted us to destroy them completely." Dr. Song watched the children playing. "Yes, this is the right legacy for Jia, not destruction but understanding." The Retribution began its long journey back to Earth. It had come as an instrument of war, but was returning as a symbol of change. The massive ship moved through space, carrying children going home, and the story of how humanity had taught an alien race to feel. The end.